I'd like to follow up on the conversation that I had with Daniel last week, where we talked about labels. I wanted to just shift a little bit and talk about some of the issues spouses may have with labels. And I want to talk about that in two ways. Hello, and welcome to the Complex Couples Podcast. I'm Heidi. I'm a couples therapist and relationship coach specializing in mixed orientation marriages and mixed gender identity relationships. Whether you're just discovering this reality or you've been on this journey for a long time, this is the space where your marriage matters, your values matter, and your choices matter. Let's dive in. Hi friends, so glad you're joining me today. Welcome. Today I'd just like to follow up on the conversation that I had with Daniel last week, where we talked about labels. And when Daniel's on, I'm really trying to ask him questions so that there's something more to offer here for those who are in the position of being the partner with same-sex attraction. So I focused mostly on his experience with labels last week. And so I wanted to just shift a little bit and talk about some of the issues spouses may have with labels. And I want to talk about that in two ways. The first is issues you may come up against when your spouse has a different label than what you would want to call them. And secondly, some of the labels we take on ourselves that are not helpful. So first, talking about if our spouse is choosing a label that we don't like. There's difficulty around the perception of this, and we talked a little bit about that last time, but if your spouse is choosing a label that doesn't include you, it can be a really painful thing. And last week we kind of talked about how that was really important to me to be included in that label, and my guess is if you care about saving your marriage, you also want to be a part of that label. And I was thinking after we recorded how sometimes that's just not the case. Your partner is purposely excluding you because they don't really want to be in this relationship anymore. So changing the words is not going to help that situation. It's confronting the reality. And so it's looking at why they want to use that label and what's important about it to them, and really looking to see, like, does this include me? And do they want to be with me in some way or facilitate something better where they can say, I am gay and attracted to my partner? They may legitimately feel like they are not attracted to you right now, and nor is there a way to become so. And if that's the reality, that is really, really painful. And yet that doesn't mean it's about you. There's a lot there. And so one of the struggles is taking something personally that may not be personal. There may not be anything you can do about that. So something helpful there would be really looking at why they're choosing the label they're choosing. Is there room for you there? Is there room to be included? Do they want you there? One thing that comes to my mind is often we might interpret their behavior of arguing and trying to persuade us as not caring about us. But the fact that they're worried about your opinion and trying to move you, to some degree, exhibits caring. It's not in the best way, I understand, but I think that's what can actually complicate things, because you're seeing things that say they're engaging in ways that say they do care about your opinion, they do care about something there. So it can become difficult to grapple with, okay, there is some evidence of like they care what I think, and yet they are choosing a label to exclude me, and it can be difficult to sift through what's what. So listening the best you can to why they are choosing what label they are choosing, and calming down your own fears and trying to allow them their journey of what this means for them, and if you can be included or not, and making your choice in light of that is important. And then essentially, if that's the choice that they're going to make and you aren't included in it, figuring out, what do I want to do about that besides trying to persuade and change their mind? Of course, sharing what's important to you is important, but if there's no room for movement on that, then you might have to confront a different choice. So some of the labels that I think are hard for spouses is, one of the labels that I have is just being married to a gay man. Like, there's not a specific label for that, right? I mean, sometimes I refer to myself as the straight spouse just for ease, but there's not a real specific label. However, the general feeling that I get from others who are unfamiliar with this is a feeling of pity, a feeling of like, I feel bad for you that you're married to a gay man. And that is a label that I could actually indulge in myself. And I have, quite frankly. I have felt sorry for myself. I have felt pity for myself that I am in this situation, mostly because of optics and how people might view it, and realizing that, it is very important to me to be seen as someone attractive, someone that my partner finds appealing. I've found a lot of identity in that. And so feeling sorry for myself was a part of this journey. And as I've moved through it, I've recognized that the essentially pity is not the emotion. Pity is not what I want. And as a matter of fact, it's probably one of the most distasteful things that people offer me. And I can't control if they offer it to me. They can offer me pity, but I can control if I feel sorry for myself. And I've chosen not to. I think I'm actually pretty darn lucky. All things considered, I try to look at the big picture and recognize like there are things enviable about my marriage. There are things less enviable about my situation. And that's pretty true in any marriage. We're all choosing a human with different strengths and weaknesses. So taking myself out of the victim position and recognizing my agency has been a really helpful thing. I hope this was helpful. Please email me if you have any questions or comments. It's Heidi@complexcouplescoaching.com. I always love hearing your stories, and I read those emails personally. I would also ask that you like or subscribe to these videos or podcasts because it helps boost the algorithm, which helps us get to more people who need it. So you are doing something to help other people who are in similar situations. I thank you for listening and have a great week.